So, G-7, where did we stop in our last class? What was the last test?
I can't exactly remember, but I think
it should be 26 or thereabout.
Yes, I think 26.
Daksha
you read it that you are supposed to take.
Okay. So. We read it, but we did not read the purpose, or did we?
The same. When we come back, we'll take it up again.
Okay, it has no purpose. 26 has no purpose. So it was Daksha prayer. Daksha's prayer was that, my dear Lord, you are transcendental to all speculative positions. You are completely spiritual, devoid of all fear. And you are always in control of the material energy. Even though you appear in the material energy, you are situated transcendentally.
Which one are you reading?
Is that not? I'm reading the translation of 26. Just the translation.
No. Check what you are reading properly. 4:26. 4:7:26.
4:7:26. Yeah, that's
okay,
what.
Okay. My dear, you are transcendental to all spiritual positions. That's it, now.
Yes.
Okay.
That is it. So you are completely spiritual, devoid of all fear, and you are always in control of the material energy. Even though you appear in the material energy, you are situated transcendentally. You are always free from material contamination because you are completely self-sufficient. So all those who are suffering in the matter, one symptom of the material existence is fear. And fear is due to being dependent on the fulfillment of some desires. Once you start to have material desire, you are going to depend on the fulfillment of the desire. And when the desire is not fulfilled as desired, then fear begins to arise. But the Lord is completely self-sufficient, meaning he doesn't desire anything. He has nothing to desire in this material world because he's self-sufficient. He's not in need of anything. So only those who are in need of something, they are the ones who will be desiring, I want this, and when I don't have it, it becomes something else. And fear, lamentation, all anchoring, all are part of it. So it is interesting that Lord Brahma is able to point out this, that the Lord being self-sufficient, he has no desire for anything in this place. And in Bhagavatam 11:2-37, Srimad Bhagavatam 11:2-37, there is a sloka there. Bayadvicha binibesatasya isad apetasya viparyayo asmriti tan mayayato buddha abajetam bhaktiyai kayesam gurudevatatma. The fear arises when a living entity misidentifies himself as the material body because of absorption in the external illusory energy of the Lord. That when the living entity turns away from the Supreme Lord, he also forgets his own constitutional position as the servant of the Lord. This bewildering, fearful condition is offered by the potency for illusion called Maya. Tan Maya Yato Buddha Abajetam. Therefore, an intelligent person to engage unflinchingly in the unalloyed devotional service of the Lord, under the guidance of the bona fide spiritual master, whom is to accept as his worshipable deity and as his life and soul, very life and soul. So this is it. Fear, baya, arises from losing knowledge about one's identity due to the attraction by the illusory energy. So since Vishnu does not have any material desire, he has nothing to desire for in the material world, is self-sufficient. But when he appeared, everybody saw that this is completely beyond this ring. His effulgence, his beauty, his opulence, everything around him was superb, completely beyond their wildest. And Lord Brahma become like an ant in the presence of Vishnu. So that prayer is very important. Fear, lamentation, illusion, all are due to we not being self-sufficient. But categorically here it is stated how Vishnu is self-sufficient, and predicated on that is completely transcendental to all the influences of material existence. So that is what Brahman said. Then we move to 27. Ritwija Uchu Tatwam Natevayam Ananjana Rudra Sapat Kamani Avagradio Bhagavan Vidama Dharmo Palaksana Midam Tribut Advarakyam Gyatam Yadatam Abhidaivam Ado Vyavastaha. Now, when you say Uvacha, in Sanskrit, it means only one person. I say Maitreya Uvacha, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, Arjuna Uvacha. But when there are plenty, with the plural of Uvacha is Uchu. Whenever you see Uchu, that means a group of people are speaking. When you say Uvacha, it means just one person is speaking. So this verse says, Ritwi Uchu, Ritwijaha, the priest. This Ritwik philosophy comes from this kind of, these are sacrificial priests. They are sacrificial priests, Ritwik. They are not the original, they don't take responsibility, but their own is to just conduct the ritual. So the priests who are conducting the ritual there, who are supporting priests, they all collectively address the Lord, saying, "O Lord, transcendental to material contamination by the cause offered by Lord Shiva's men, we have become attached to fruitive activities, and thus we are now falling and therefore do not know anything about you. On the contrary, we are now involved in the injunctions of the three departments of the Vedic knowledge under the play of executing rituals in the name of Jagya. We know that you have made arrangements for distributing the respective shares of the demigods. So this is a very serious verse, because as we can know, we see in the purport, all those priests who are involved in those rituals, in that ritual of Daksha, they had a fight with Lord Shiva's followers, and the Lord Shiva's followers caused them. And the cause was that they will become Smarata Brahmanas. Since they do not know the goal of Jagya, and they are disrespecting those who are supposed to receive the Jagya, they will become Smarata Brahmanas. They will be able to do all the rituals without knowledge of who is actually the Jagya Purusa. So they'll be lost in the ocean of doing rituals. So like the Brahmanas, for instance, in the Krishna book also, they are doing the rituals, but they don't know that the ritual is for pleasing Lord Vishnu. So that's why they are into all these rituals, and they never know that all rituals has to be subordinated to Vishnu. That Bhuktaram Jagya Tapasha. So they are ignorant of the goal of the ritual, but they are just absorbed, they are caught up in doing ritual so that they can feed their stomach. They perform ritualistic ceremonies as a matter of business, trying to get something from there to feed their stomach. And this is the cause. This is due to the cause of the followers of Lord Shiva. They become smarter Brahmanas. All those Dasha priests, they all became smarter Brahmanas, and their descendants everywhere is now covered. Still, people generally are Brahmanas, but they do not know the goal. They cannot practice. They are like friends of Brahmanas. And if you are born into a family, whether you have the qualification or not, once you are born in the family of Brahmana, you are a Brahmana. So they are creating so much confusion in the Vedic culture. And some people will just go and read about those aspects and end up there. And they teach those aspects in the university, in the philosophy classes, without reference to the goal of the Vedas. So they confuse more people. They make people become more and more confused without any harmonious conclusion. So this is the effect of the causes of Lord Shiva's followers. And they are confessing it. They are confessing it. Can you read the purpose for us, Prabhu? It's me and you now. Jesus one, can you read the purpose? Or
the
maybe
Vedas are known.
let me read. Let me read. The Vedas are known as Trigunya Visaya. Trigunya Visaya Veda, as in Bhagavad Gita 2:45. Those who are serious students of the Vedas are very much attached to the ritualistic ceremonies mentioned in the Vedas. And therefore, these Vedaists or these Vedavadis cannot understand that the ultimate goal of the Vedas is to understand Lord Krishna or Vishnu. Those who have transcended the qualitative Vedic attractions, however, can understand Krishna, who is never contaminated by material qualities. Therefore, Lord Vishnu is addressed here as Ananjana, free from material contaminations. In Bhagavad Gita 2:42, the crude Vedic scholars have been deprecated by Krishna as follows. Yam imam puspitam vacham pravadanti avipashitaha vedavadarataha parta nanyad astitivadina. Men of small knowledge are very much attached to the flowery words of the Vedas. And they say that there is nothing more than this. So they are lost in the ocean of Vedic rituals. That is why yesterday, when he compiled the Vedas, glorifying all the enunciating, delineating all the details about how to perform these rituals, to get this, how to perform, without touching, without exclusively, without making separation of mixtures, without exclusively establishing Krishna and Vishnu as the supreme. He was confused because he could not subordinate, he could not harmonize all the varieties. Therefore, there was complexity in diversity, not unity in diversity, because the uniting force is bhakti, subordinating everything to the satisfaction of the Lord. That is the denominator. But that service, that denominator is not there. So there's varieties, but no unity. And that creates complexity. So there was complexity in diversity. not unity in diversity as in Bhakti, because the denominator was not there to unite the varieties. This is the situation. So Srila Prabhupada is mentioning, this is very important because many devotees still confuse those practices to the goal. The goal is actually to understand Krishna. But when you do the rituals and you yourself don't know the goal, you only get temporary benefits. You see? So it is important that devotees know this. And even if we are doing rituals, we know why we are doing rituals. And those rituals are there. And we are able to subordinate those rituals to Vishnu. Because the demigods are actually part of the bodies of the Lord. It's like you are trying to feed the hand, the legs, the mouth, the face, the eyes, the ears. But when the food is sent to the stomach, automatically all the senses are nourished, all the limbs of the body are nourished. This is how to nourish the body, not to separately. So if you cannot harmonize your jagyas to the satisfaction of Vishnu, then of course you are lost. You see? And this is the situation of the Brahma Vadis. They perform ritual, they know a lot, but they cannot harmonize them with Bhakti. And that is the problem. Now you read the next verse, Prabhu. Let's take it one by one. You and me.
Okay, 28. Sadasya Uchu Utpati Udvani Asharana Uru Klesha Durge Nta Kogra Jalan Viste Vishaya Mrega Trishi Atma Gehuru Bara Dwandwa Swabre Kala Mrega Baye Suka Dave Inja Sarta Padau kas te sharanada kadayati kambo pashritaha. Translation. The members of the assembly address the Lord, O exclusive shelter for all who are situated in troubled life. In this formidable fort of conditional existence, the time element, like a snake, is always looking for an opportunity to strike. This world is full of ditches of so-called distress and happiness, and there are many ferocious animals always ready to attack. The fire of lamentation is always blazing, and the marriage false happiness is always alluring. The one has no shelter from them. Thus, foolish persons live in the cycle of birth and death, always overburdened in discharging their so-called duties. And so we do not know when they will accept the shelter of your lotus feet. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Purport.
Yeah.
Persons who are not in Krishna consciousness are living a very precarious life. As described in this verse, but all these circumstantial conditions are due to forgetfulness of Krishna. The Krishna consciousness movement is meant to give relief to all these bewildered and distressed persons. Therefore, it is the greatest relief work for all human society. And the workers thereof are the greatest well-wishers, for they follow in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya, who is the greatest friend to all living entities. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So this verse also has given so many beautiful metaphors and figures of speeches here. That all members of the assembly, address the Lord as, "O exclusive shelter for all who are situated in troubled life." Truly, the Lord, the Supreme Lord, is the shelter for all. Everyone in this material world is in a troubled life. Troubled by birth, troubled by old age, troubled by disease, troubled by death, troubled by karma, troubled by desires, and troubled by, deviating activities. So everyone in this material world is actually living a troubled life. Everyone, no exception. As long as you find yourself in this material world, you are living a troubled life. And you are being troubled by birth, old age, disease, and death, irrespective of your creed, color, country of origin, your ethnicity, or your geocentricity. Everyone practically in this world is living a troubled life, troubled by all kinds of desires, troubled by birth, troubled by old age, troubled by disease, troubled by death, troubled by lamentation for what we have lost, troubled by desiring something we have not gotten. Everyone practically within this material world is living a troubled life. But God is the shelter for all those who are living such a troubled life. See, as soon as one surrenders to God, it's like you have agreed to pouring water to the root, to the tree of life. You have agreed to send food to the stomach rather than separately trying to enjoy the food, the eyes or nose trying to enjoy the food. You now send the food to the stomach, and nourishment is automatic. So this is it. Surrendering to the Lord means taking shelter and being ready to walk in proper alignment with God, with the Lord in the heart, and with the representatives of God in this world. And one who dovetails his life to working in that way, they are actually the greatest welfare workers, because their duty is to support the living entities, to help them to reestablish their relationship with God, lost, disconnected relationship with God. You see, people are in this world suffering because they are living a disconnected life from God. They want to live separately from God, even though they cannot live separately from God, because nobody can live without the air, without the sun, without the earth, without all the amenities, the sunshine. They are all given by God. But people want God's property without God. They want to enjoy the things of the world without recognizing the owner. And therefore, they are suffering. All suffering is due to this. So when one surrenders himself to God and start working, to bring people, back to God, once one start working hard to reconnect people back to God, is doing the greatest welfare work, because as soon as one reconnects back to God, his life becomes wholesome. Like when a hand is cut off from the body, it cannot enjoy. It will just dwindle, grow old, it just grow and die. That is it. But when that same hand is connected to the whole body, you see that it functions as part of the complete unit, and it's automatically nourished without any separate endeavor. Differently said, when a fish is in the water, it's always happy. But when that same fish is brought out of the water and put in an air-conditioned room with a water bed, big king-size bed, the fish can never be happy, because it is not natural for him to be on land. You see, so when he's thrown back into the water, the fish become happy. Similarly, when people are suffering due to their disconnected attempt to live without God, when they are reconnected back to God, it's like the fish being thrown back to water, or like a cut off hand being reconnected back to the whole body. So this is the science. So those who are working to encourage people to bring them back to God, to bring them back to reestablishing their relationship with God and thereby working in harmony with the plan of God, they become happy. Those who are doing that kind of work, they are actually doing the greatest welfare work. And this is what is being said in this particular. And here, the snake of time is also mentioned in the direct translation. It says, "Oh, exclusive shelter for all who are situated in troubled life. In this formidable fort of conditional existence, the time element, like a snake, is always looking for an opportunity to strike. It's not just looking for an opportunity to strike, it's already striking. Time elements, time is already striking imperceptibly. Time is consuming the living entity imperceptibly. Imperceptibly means we don't see time as a person, but it's actually operating. And it is compared to a snake, like I said that python of time is actually swallowing everybody. Some people are swallowed only to the feet, to the nail. Others are swallowed to the waist. Others are swallowed to the chest. Others are swallowed to the head. Others are completely swallowed. But the wonderful thing is that even though they are being swallowed by time, they do not know that they are being swallowed. For instance, if somebody is 5 years old, maybe only the feet has gone into the mouth of time. If somebody is 20 years old, he's being swallowed up to the waist. If somebody is 40 years old, he's swallowed up to the chest. If somebody is 70 years old, he's already swallowed to the neck. And if somebody is 90, 100 years old, even the head is already inside. Maybe only the air remaining up. So in this way, everybody is being swallowed by the snake of time. But wonderfully, we do not know that we are being swallowed. We are unaware of what is going on. So this is it. And the most wonderful thing is that while being just swallowed, either to the feet or to the knees, to the waist or to the chest or to the neck, we are not even aware, and we are simply struggling to gratify our senses. We are simply trying to catch the object of sense gratification. Where is food? Where is money? Where is sex? This is what we are after. Even though we are being dangerously swallowed by the snake of time, even up to the neck, we are not even concerned. All what we know is where is food? Where is money? Where is sex? Where is sex? Where is sense enjoyment? This is what we are after. So this is the precarious condition of the living entity. And the members of the assembly here are confessing this to the Lord, so that the Lord can have his mercy upon them, because they see that the Lord is completely transcendental to what they are suffering. It's beyond what they are suffering. So they want to take shelter. They are taking shelter. This world is full of ditches. It's another one. This world is full of ditches of so-called distress and happiness. And there are many ferocious animals always ready to attack. Okay? This is like somebody who has fallen into a big ditch in the forest. There is no way to climb out. We are down in the very deep of the valley, and you cannot climb out. But in the depth of the valley, there are so many ferocious animals. The tiger is there, lion is there, jackals of all kinds are there, and they are all flesh eaters. Dangerous giant snakes are there, and you are falling into that ditch. How can you come out? This material world is like that. It's a ditch full of ferocious animals, and one has fallen into it. You see? Therefore, it is called a dish of distress and happiness. Yes. Distress because there is so much fear of how to survive in the midst of these ferocious animals. You climb a tree to the top, you see a snake there. You come down from the top, you get to the land, you see a lion waiting for you. How can you survive? You stop halfway holding the tree. How can you eat? How long can you hold on? You will fall down, and those waiting for you down, they're going to make a feast out of you. So it's complete place of distress, but little happiness because if some flies are flying, you stick your tongue out and you try to catch it and also swallow it. Or you also see some leaves or some fruits and you want to eat it. So that is the happiness. Just little glimpse of happiness. All the rest is distress. This is the nature of the valley, the terrible valley, full of distress and full of ferocious animals that are ready to devour the living entity. So we have found ourselves in such a situation. How do we say, what is the hope? The hope, of course, is one who is outside of the dish. One who is outside of the dish can drop something for you to hold and pull you up. And that is God and his representatives. Only God who is outside of the dish can bring you out by sending his representative through some ladder. And that representative are the spiritual masters and the devotees of the Lord. They can help you out. This is our situation. So those in the assembly there, they recognize this and they are confessing this to the Lord. See? And the marriage of false happiness is alluring. But one has to take shelter, but one has no shelter from them. That means those so-called allurements, the object of the senses that are available in that dish, they are luring you, giving you hope that, oh, there is something nice to eat. Don't you see that beautiful mango? Don't you see that beautiful pawpaw? You can eat that nice apple and you'll be happy. All kinds of varieties of fruits are there in the valley. They are luring you, giving you hope to live. But actually, it is false hope because the happiness you derive from there is so insignificant compared to the danger that is surrounding you. So the intelligent man sees the danger and he wants to get out. He wants to be in a place where he will have ample percentage of happiness, or he'll be free from all these kind of ferocious kind of animals. Nobody wants to stay where there are lions and tigers free, unless they are in a cage. Nobody wants to go near there. All the ferocious animals are there. And because you are seeing some fruit, that becomes a hope that, oh, I can stay in this place and I'll be enjoying the fruit. You cannot enjoy the fruit. Even when you climb to want to go and pluck the fruit, there are snakes on top of poisonous snakes waiting for you. So there is danger on top, there is danger down. How can you escape? So this is the kind of scenario that those people in the assembly are painting and confessing to the Lord. And this is the nature of this world, full of distress and full of false hope. And we are running after these false hopes, and we are never getting what we are looking for. But we are rotting in here. Kindly save us. Only you who is free from this situation can actually save us. So by extension, they are indicating that even Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and all the other demigods are within the same precarious situation, that they are also going to be affected by birth, old age, disease, and death. Yes. Everyone within this material world will be affected by birth, old age, disease, and death. So they are all in the same condition of distress. You see? Someone may be better situated, but still there is birth, old age, disease, and death. And they have desires to enjoy the fruits of their actions. They are conscious of their bodies, and they want to enjoy the senses of the body. But only the Supreme Lord is completely beyond such low desires, bodily designations. and desire for enjoying this temporality. Therefore, only Him can free them. This is the prayer they are making here. They are making prayers according to their level of realization. Everyone there is making those prayers according to their service attitude, according to their level of realization. And that is why it is said that when the Lord appears, generally, everyone sees the Lord according to the service attitude that he has towards the Lord. So what is important is not even the service itself, but that service attitude. The cowherd boys see Krishna as their best friend. Kamsa saw him as his deadliest enemy. The yogis saw him as the super soul. The parents saw him as their darling boy. The cowherd girls saw him as their boyfriend. Huh? And the warriors there saw him as death personified. So in this way, according to the relationship you have with the Lord, according to your service attitude towards the Lord reciprocates. So when he appears, those who see him, they see him according to their level of consciousness, and they make prayers accordingly. So this is what is going on. Very, very beautiful. Though the purport is short, but it is very concise. And the way out is given there. Only Krishna consciousness. And therefore, they say, thus foolish persons live in the cycle of birth and death, always overburdened in discharging their so-called duties, and we do not know when they will accept the shelter of your lotus feet. Persons who are not in Krishna consciousness are living a very precarious life, as prescribed in this verse. But all these circumstantial conditions are due to forgetfulness of Krishna. The Krishna consciousness movement, Srila Prabhupada mood and mission. This is Srila Prabhupada's mood and mission. Anywhere you come across this Krishna consciousness movement or the Krishna consciousness movement, that is mood and mission. The Krishna consciousness movement is meant to give relief to all these bewildered and distressed persons. And that is it. The Krishna consciousness movement is meant to give relief to all these bewildered and distressed persons. Therefore, it is the greatest relief work for all humanity. And the workers thereof are the greatest well-wishers, for they follow in the footsteps of the Lord. Chaitanya, who is the greatest friend of all living entities. So Lord Chaitanya is the greatest friend of all living entities. So you can see the kind of duty that we have a very great duty. And that duty is enough. And anyone who is and consciously situated in that duty, won't you allow me to finish the sentence?
Yes, please. I'll have to leave immediately. They are calling me for certain things in the temple. I will leave immediately.
Okay, you can leave. Hare Krishna, you have tried. At least you started. So, Dandava pranams. So, Ji Salika Maharaj, it's only two of us left now. The devotees didn't come for the class, and only Rasavan came, then you joined. His Holiness Bhakti Damodara Maharaj is here with us. So, at a point, they now need Rasavan very urgently, and he has gone now. So it's left with me and you only.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So let us continue.
Hare
Everybody
Krishna.
is important, but those who are here are more important as far as this verse is concerned than those who are not here. So let us go on.
Maharaj is in Ghana now.
Yes, he came yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So read the next verse.
Can you read this one? I'll join you in the next one. I'll
Okay.
join the reading.
Okay. Now Lord Shiva is going to speak. Rudra Oshu, and Rudra Uvacha, Taba Barada, Barangrau, Asiseka Kilate, Hiapi, Munibi, Ashaktai, Adarena, Niye, Yadira Sitadia, Madidia, Mavidia, Loko, Avidam, Japati na Ganaye, Tatuat Paranungraena. Lord Shiva said, "My dear Lord, my mind and consciousness are always fixed on your lotus feet, which are the source of all benedictions and the fulfillment of all desires, are worshipped by all liberated great sages, because your lotus feet are worthy of worship. With my mind fixed on your lotus feet, I am no longer disturbed by persons who blaspheme me, claiming that my activities are not purified. I do not mind their accusations, and I excuse them out of compassion, just as you exhibit compassion towards all living entities." Purport. Lord Shiva expresses herein his regrets at having been angry and having disturbed the sacrificial activities of Daksha. King Daksha had insulted him in many ways, and thus he had become angry and had frustrated the entire sacrificial ceremony. Later, when he was pleased, the Jagya performances were reinstituted, and therefore he regretted his activities. Now he says that because his mind is fixed on the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord Vishnu, he is no longer disturbed by the ordinary critics of his way of life. From this statement by Lord Shiva, it is understood that as long as one is on the material platform, one is affected by the three modes of material nature. As soon as one is in Krishna consciousness, however, one is no longer affected by such material activities. One should therefore always be fixed in Krishna consciousness, busy in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. It is guaranteed that such a devotee will never be affected by the actions and reactions of the three modes of material nature. This fact is also corroborated in Bhagavad Gita. Anyone who is fixed in the transcendental service of the Lord has surpassed all the material qualities and is situated in the status of Brahman realization, in which one is not afflicted by hankering for material objects. The recommendation of the Srimad Bhagavatam is that one should always be Krishna conscious and should never forget his transcendental relationship with the Lord. This program has to be followed strictly by always be Krishna conscious and should never forget his transcendental love. This program has to be followed strictly by everyone. From the statement of Lord Shiva, it is understood that he was always in Krishna consciousness, and thus he remained free from material affliction. The only remedy, therefore, is to continue Krishna consciousness rigidly, in order to get out of the contamination of the material modes. So that is it. Everyone is affected by the material modes, but as soon as one becomes rigidly Krishna conscious, yes, he's on the path of becoming free from the influence of the modes of material nature. So Lord Shiva exemplified this here. So before he was like getting angry and disrupt the sacrifices. As Vishnu has appeared, he fixed his mind on him, and he has forgiven them all, just as Lord Vishnu also forgive and tolerate everyone for all his whimsicality. He has also forgiven them. So as long as one is Krishna conscious, rigidly Krishna conscious, then one has a chance of becoming free from the influence of the modes of material nature. So the practice is consistency. We should consistently practice Krishna consciousness individually. And in that way, we can become individually free from the clutches of the material modes of nature. Mam chayo biabichare na bhakti yoga na sevati. Saguna zamati chiaitan brahma bhuya kalpati. Yes. One who does his work unconditionally, despite the bombardments of the three modes of material nature, he at once transcends their influence and attains, Brahma Bhuyaya. You see. So that is the formula. So we take the formula to the degree we take the formula to that degree, we become free. So it is a call for personal application here, and everyone should try to take advantage of this. It is individual. You paddle your journey. You paddle your boat. Everybody paddle his boat. Though we can borrow strength from one another, being in an organization. But organizational activities are to help you become individually Krishna conscious. So let us focus on the goal. Let us focus on our personal application, the process of Krishna consciousness, and become free proportionally. Hare Krishna. Next verse. This is prayer by Lord Shiva. But the next prayer is prayer by Bhrigu Muni. Prayer by Bhrigu Muni. Are you in a position to read now? Yes, Ali. Are you in a position to read now?
You can read one more, but which chapter and verse are you reading so that I can follow? I'm opening my Bible now.
It's Bhrigu Uchu. Bhrigu Uchu is 13, 4, 7, 30. 4, 7, 30. Bhrigu Uchu. Yan Mayaya Ganana Ma Yan Mayaya Gahana Ya Paritatma Bodha Brahma Dayastanu Britas Tamasi Swapanta Natman Sritam Tava Vidanti Adunapi Tatwam Soyam Prasidatu Bhavan Pranatatma Bandhu. Sri Bhrigu said, my dear Lord, all living entities beginning from the highest, namely Lord Brahma, down to the ordinary ant, are under the influence of the insurmountable spell of illusory energy. And thus, they are ignorant of their constitutional position. Everyone believes in the concept of the body, and all are thus submerged in the darkness of illusion. They are actually unable to understand how you live in every living entity as a super soul, nor can they understand your absolute position. But you are the eternal friend and protector of all surrendered souls. Therefore, please be kind towards us and forgive all our offenses. Purport. Bhrigu Muni was conscious of the scandalous behavior exhibited by each and every one of them, including Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, in the sacrificial arena of Daksha. By mentioning Brahma, the chief of the living entities within the material world, he wanted to state that everyone, including also Brahma and Lord Shiva, is under the concept of the body and under the spell of material energy, all but Vishnu. That is the version of Bhrigu. As long as one is under the concept of the body as self, it is very difficult to understand the super soul. or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Conscious that he was not greater than Brahma, Bhrigu included himself in the list of offenders. Ignorant personalities or conditioned souls have no choice but to accept their precarious condition under material nature. The only remedy is to surrender to Vishnu and always pray to be used. One should depend only on the causeless mercy of the Lord for deliverance, and not even slightly on one's own strength. That is the perfect position of a Krishna conscious person. The Lord is everyone's friend, but is especially friendly to the surrendered soul. The simple process, therefore, is that a conditioned soul should remain surrendered to the Lord, and the Lord will give him all protection to keep him out of the clutches of material contamination. Everyone. So Bhrigu is here, including Lord Brahma too. It's both Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and all those who were there were under the influence of the modes. Because Brahma sat there silently witnessing all that was happening, he didn't stop. So Bhrigu has included him as those who are among the modes. And he has included Lord Shiva for his action, sending Brahmana, a demon, to come and destroy. He has to include himself also because he knows that he's not superior to Brahma or Shiva. So he included himself. So all living entities from the topmost part of the material universes down to the lowest, they are all under the influence of the modes. Except Vishnu, who is beyond the mode. Vishnu is coming from a world beyond the material world. This is the conclusion of Bhrigu. And his conclusion is right. Everyone. Therefore, the test is Avyabhicharana. Mamchayo Vyabhicharana. Bhakti Yogena Sevate. Saguna Samati Chaitan. Brahma Bhuya Kalpate. Yes. That is the formula. So free from the influence of the modes. That is the endeavor we are making. And by practicing Krishna consciousness, by taking Krishna consciousness very seriously, only can one become free from the influence of the modes and attains to the transcendental abode. That's why I say material nature, the energy of material nature is also divine. Mama Maya Duratya. Krishna confirmed this, that it is insurmountable, practically insurmountable by anyone within this material world. But for one who takes shelter of him, he can easily cross beyond it. And he also said in Bhagavad Gita 1858 too, Mam Chita, Ma Chita Salvador Gani, Mad Prasadam Tarishias. Ata Shet Twam Ahankara, Nas Rishiasi Vinakshias. Ata Shet Twam Ahankara, Nas Rishiasi Vinakshias. Yes. Almost impossible. But for those who take shelter of him, they can easily cross beyond it. The influence of the three modes. So this is the submission of Bhrigu. He did not exclude Brahma, he did not exclude Shiva, he did not exclude himself. He himself is part of. Therefore, only Vishnu is transcendental, and everybody should take shelter of Vishnu in order to become transcendental also. That is the conclusion. Can you read the next verse, Prabhu 32?
Let me just share some realization first. It is interesting.
Okay.
The previous verse and this verse.
Okay.
And proper submission in this purport is very interesting for reflection. I know there are not many other devotees here, but it's actually interesting.
Yes.
Krishna is so merciful that I wouldn't know what kind of Actually, Krishna consciousness in all circumstances always reflects the absolute truth. And it is interesting that even after so many years, we all still have this attachment to the material world. But I guess also it is because of the nature of the embodied soul to want to survive. And part of his survival mode is that he wanted to enjoy, because it is natural to him to always want to enjoy. But because he's caught up in so many webs of material conditioning, sometimes he finds himself, even when he comes in contact with knowledge and reality like this. I'm just reflecting the life of devotees. I mean, this is Bhagavatam class, Bhakti Vaibhav class, where we're talking about actually devotees. And the interesting thing is that I'm looking at Papa, Lord Krishna has given knowledge of the reason why the living entity is in this material body in the previous verses of the Bhagavad Gita. He has given the explanation of the status or the condition of the living entities, especially in this chapter 14 of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna clearly states why the living entity becomes covered, even when he is transcendental. And he gives the solution, Mamchayu Vabhicharina, as Prabhupada quoted in the purport of the previous verse. And even when we hear this Mamchayu verse, and you quoted the reference also of 1858, Machita Sarvadugani. So these are all keys to becoming free from conditional life. But sometimes, maybe one thing that we don't reflect too much on is what Prabhupada said in the purport to this Bhrigu Muni's statement, that ultimately it all depends on the grace of the Lord. Even though these principles are given, one has to accept them in the mood of trying to take shelter of the Lord. Even though, yes, we know this is the key, this is the pathway to freedom. But even that is beyond our capacity without the grace of the Lord. So therefore, it actually reflects that. I was just reflecting as you are reading that ultimately, the mood of a devotee should be that let the will of the Lord be, let your will be done, O Lord. And one should just simply surrender. And he emphasizes the conclusion of the Bhagavad Gita to surrender to Krishna. It's interesting. And sometimes I will lose the focus that ultimately all of these principles rest on the point of surrendering to Krishna, as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. Ultimately, everything comes back to surrender.
Yeah.
And if one can completely surrender himself willingly, sincerely, Krishna helps such a sincere soul to overcome the challenges. Interesting. Thank you.
Hare
I'll
Krishna.
read the next verse.
Yeah.
Ramo uvata naitat swarupam bhavato sao padata Veda Graha Purusho Yabha Shet Imanasya Chatasya Gunasya Tarsyayo Maya Maya Vyatrikoto Matas Etwam. But Brahma said, my dear Lord, your personality and eternal form cannot be understood by any person who is trying to know you through the different processes of acquiring knowledge. Interesting. Your position is always transcendental to the material creation, whereas the empiric attempt to understand you is material, as are its objectives and instruments. Prabhupada said that it is said that the transcendental name, qualities, activities, paraphernalia, etc. of the Supreme Personality of God that cannot be understood with our mental senses. The attempt of the empiric philosopher to understand the absolute truth by speculation is always futile because their process of understanding the objectives and the instrument by which they try to understand the absolute truth are all material. The Lord is aprakrita, beyond the creation of the material world. This fact is also accepted by the great impersonalist Sankaracharya. Narayana Paru Vyakta Andam Vyakta Sambhavam. Avyakta, or by the original material cause, is beyond this material manifestation, and is the cause of the material world. Because Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is beyond the material world, one cannot speculate upon him by any material method. One has to understand the Supreme Personality of God simply by transcendental method of Krishna consciousness. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. 1855, Bhakti Abhijananti. Only by devotional service can one understand the transcendental form of the Lord. The difference between the impersonalist and the personalist is that the impersonalist, limited by their speculative process, cannot even approach the Supreme Personality of God, whereas the devotee is pleased the Supreme Personality of God ordered through his transcendental loving service. E. Due to the service attitude of the devotee, the Lord is revealed to him. The Supreme Lord cannot be understood by materialistic persons, even though he is present before them. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna therefore condemns such materialists as mudhas. Mudha means rascal. It is said in the Gita, only rascals think of Lord Krishna as an ordinary person. They do not know what Lord Krishna's position is or what his transcendental potencies are. Unaware of his transcendental potencies, the impersonalists deride the persons of Lord Krishna, whereas the devotees, by dint of their service attitude, can understand him as the personality of God. In the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna also confirmed that it is very difficult to understand the personality of the Lord.
Hare Krishna. So you see, again, all other processes of knowledge, you cannot approach the Lord, you cannot understand the Lord. But only through the causeless mercy of the Lord, invoked by our devotional attitude, service attitude. That is the only way the Lord can reveal himself. That mundas, or the rascals, only rascals think of Krishna as an ordinary person, and they do not know what Lord Krishna's position is. It's completely transcendental. So this is it. The Lord cannot be understood by any of our endeavors. We cannot. That's why in the previous verse, the purport that you quoted, the Prabhupada mentioned it. Only by the causeless mercy of the Lord. It's not by our strength in any way. We don't have the strength to become free from the clutches of Maya. We cannot do it. But we can endeavor, and that endeavor will attract the attention of the Lord, and the Lord will bestow his causeless mercy on us. But it is not the endeavor. Nevertheless, we should also continue to endeavor in order to attract the mercy of the Lord or the attention of the Lord. So that is it. No process. Because the Lord is Adokshaja, is inconceivable, is completely beyond the reach of the senses. So how can we try to understand, how can we understand him by our speculative endeavor? It's not possible. Only when we surrender. And that's why we offer obeisances in the temple. Once we enter the temple, just accept that, oh Lord, you are inconceivable to my material senses. So I therefore surrender to you. Then if the Lord wants to reveal a particular aspect of him that is beneficial for that devotee, he reveals that to him. God is understood by revelation. And the Krishna consciousness movement believes in that. You cannot see the Lord. The Lord is actually beyond us. So we have to position ourselves in a way that we receive whatever he is able to reveal, what he wishes to reveal to us about himself. And that you can try that by the degree of your service attitude. How much are you willing to act according to the will of the Lord? Then you are there. The Lord reciprocates and uses you as instruments in his plan. This is it. Not by our endeavors. Yes, you can expand the commentary on this also. There are some points to. Lord is a prakrita, beyond the creation of the material world.
Yeah, it is interesting that all the review scriptures have stated, like a realization of like June in the Bhagavad Gita, and Prabhupada referenced that here. All great sages, all great personalities, all those who have become success stories in the past, present, and even the future, they will always come to the same conclusion that Krishna cannot be understood by might, strength, knowledge, austerity, performance of yagya, or any other means. And that is what these great personalities are actually doing here. Starting from the Brahma, the Brigumuni, and then
Yes.
we're going to be hearing Indrajit also. Indra also is going to be talking here next. So it's actually interesting that a devotee has this great boon. And that is why devotional service is said to be uncomparable with any process of self-realization, because only by this, and Prabhupada even emphasizes that by quoting it in the purport, Bhakti Mama Bidyananti, only by this process of devotional service, because only a devotee can understand this secret of the scriptures, and simply by the process of Sevomukhi, Divadao. Prabhupada also referenced that in the purport. It's so simple, so straightforward. But sometimes our complicated, complex mind makes it so complex, and then we can't.
It's as simple as that. Very straightforward. But we don't like simple things. It's too simple to be true now. We want something complex in order to respect the thing. That should look very complex. But the process is so simple. You know, we accept our subordinate position and just act accordingly. And the Lord is there for us. So
I was speaking to one doctor over the week, and we're talking about philosophy and thoughts of Buddhism, and he was asking whether I have an academic write-up, because there is some presentation that's supposed to be done at the global space, and I said I've not done any academic write-up on this, but I can tell you the purpose behind, the personality of the subject, the teaching, the thoughts and philosophy of the person, Buddha, and the conclusion of the Buddhist theology. And they said, no. We want this, we want this academic gymnastics. So it's interesting.
yeah.
Recent times, I've started publications. I've started publishing in several global journals, because that's the only way you can capture the mind of these people, because they can't see anything unless they complicated mindset.
Presentation. That's why Bhakti Vaibhav, Bhakti Vaibhav also started presenting. The philosophy he presents is very nice. They like it, but is there any academic article publication on this? Otherwise, they don't take it serious.
Yeah. They're like children. They're like children. Malaria is taken care of by the application of quinine. But the children would not want to take the quinine. They want to take the sweet thing. So the medical doctor would then have to coat the quinine with some sweet for the child to take it. So it's the same with the materialists, the academicians. The reality of the truth is bhakti, but they will not take it unless you coat that bhakti with so many things for their minds, for their complicated mind. It's interesting.
That is it. That's why if you just say, okay, you want qualification, just give you the qualification. I passed through the school. I give you the certificate. You want certificate, take it. I'll give you what the certificate is qualified for. Then you take it, whether you perform or not, provided you have the certificate. That's why they are buying certificates now.
I have more than 10 doctorate award, honorary award. I'm just rejecting one after the other. Because my presentations at different places, they said, oh, this man is supposed to be a doctor. Why is he not having a doctor attached to his name? You have to make him a doctor by once.
But you're supposed to take them, oh, Prabhu, for preaching purpose.
Yeah.
Supposed to take them.
I'm trying. I've just even applied for doctorate degree now. I'm doing philosophy and medical doctorate. A doctorate in spiritual, religious studies and medicine. So at least I will have not just an honorary doctorate, so that I will have an academic doctorate certified.
Yes. Very important, because that's what the people need. After all, the whole thing is that when you look at it, it's to function within this material tabernacle. As long as you are still here, and that is what they need, you just package it and give it to them. And you have what you have. And they now recognize and respect you and allow you to do your preaching everywhere you go.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes, you package it and give it to them. Finish. So that is it. Anywhere a devotee speak, all those people, they become dwarfed. Because what you are speaking from the greatest philosopher, Krishna himself, and his demigods, and his pure devotees. So who can say something more than what you have to say? You see? And since they are attached to the external certificates, you just take the certificate. You want the certificate? I have it. Take. Then you pass and you go and knock your philosophy seriously. And they will assimilate you just by having the qualification alone. You are 50% accepted. You see? You are an authority. So utilize it for preaching. So here we are. The Lord has said it. By our own strength, we cannot do anything. By our own strength. It is only by His grace. So we should position ourselves and act in a way that we attract the grace of the Lord. That is all. By His grace only, all impossible things become possible. So let us look for the grace of the Lord. It is only the grace of the Lord. By His grace, all seemingly impossible things become possible. So all what we need is the grace of the Lord. So let us act in a way that we attract the grace of the Lord. Otherwise, it is not by our own mental or intellectual or egoistic effort that we can understand everything about the Lord, because the Lord is inconceivable, is transcendental to the reach of our tiny intelligence. Therefore, the process of Krishna consciousness is by revelation. When you submit yourself to the supremacy of the Lord, when you supplicate yourself, then the Lord now reveals something that you can cope with about Himself. What you need to actually know in order to go to the next level, He reveals that to you, what you can handle. And it takes you beyond. So this is it. Otherwise, everybody is within the influence of the three modes of nature. No intellectual effort can understand. Okay. So thank you very much. Let's go to the next verse. It's great Chitaketu Putra Prabhu. You are welcome.
Okay. The next verse saying, now Indra is speaking. Indra Uvacha Idam api achutya viswa bhavanam Vapo anandam karam mamo drisaham Sura vitvit sapanai udayudahe Puja dandai upapanam astabi. Indra said, my dear Lord, your transcendental form with 8 hands and weapons in each of them appears for the welfare of the entire universe. And it is very pleasing to the mind and eyes. In such a form, your Lordship is always sharp prepared to punish the demons who are envious of your devotees. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada says, it is generally understood from revealed scriptures that Lord Vishnu appears with 4 hands, but in this particular sacrificial arena, Lord Vishnu arrived with 8 hands. Indra said, even though we are accustomed to see your 4-handed Vishnu, this appearance with 8 hands is as real as the 4-handed form, as Lord Brahma had said. To realize the transcendental form of the Lord is beyond the power of the senses. In reply to that statement by Brahma, King Indra said that even though the transcendental form of the Lord is not perceivable by the material senses, his activities and his transcendental form can be understood. The laws of common features, common activities, and common beauty can be perceived even by an ordinary man. For example, when Lord Krishna appeared just like a 6 or 7-year-old boy in Vrindavan, he was approached by the residents there. There were torrents of rain, and the Lord saved the residents of Vrindavan by lifting Govardhan Hill and resting it on the little finger of his head for 7 days. This uncommon issue of the Lord should convince even materialistic persons who want to speculate to the limit of their material senses. The activities of the Lord are pleasing to experimental vision also. But impersonalists will not believe in his identity because they have studied the personality, comparing their personality to his. Because men in this material world cannot lift a fee, they do not believe that the Lord can lift one. They accept the statements of Srimad Bhagavatam to be allegorical, and they try to interpret them in their own way. But factually, the Lord lifted the hill in the presence of all the inhabitants of the kingdom. As corroborated by great acharyas and thoughts, like Vyasadeva and Narad Muni, everything about the Lord, his activities, pastimes, and uncommon features, to be accepted as is. And in this way, even in our present condition, we can understand Lord. We can understand the Lord. In the instance here, King Indra confirmed, your presence with 8 hands is as good as your presence with 4 hands. There is no doubt about it. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So any comment on this?
Let's hear the welcoming.
His Grace Chitraketu Putra Prabhu, you are please welcome to our Srimad Bhagavatam class. If only you are there, even after coming at the 89th minute, let us see if we are actually there. If you are actually there, all glory to you. We still appreciate you. But at least your diplomatic presence is also still appreciated. However, we say your presence, diplomatic or real, is appreciated above those who did not make the effort at all. So Chitraketu Putra Prabhu, are you there? If you are there, read the next verse as a welcome so that you can conclude the class for us. And you will be known as the person who concluded the class. You appear and concluded the class. So from the silence we can see, it is rational to conclude that Chitraketu's appearance and attendance is simply diplomatic. It's an illusory presence. So I think what we read is Indra's own statement, isn't it?
Yes.
So
Chitraketu defeated our assumptions.
Well, He created illusion, but we defeated the illusion by the is non-present, despite appearing to be present. And this is due to the costless mercy of the Lord. The Lord is so merciful that at least from time to time, still giving us defeats, giving us a victory in all circumstances. So here, what is the significance of the Lord appearing with 8 hands? Why did the Lord choose to appear with 8 hands? I cannot ask that, but his Vishnu form is 4 hands, usually. But this time he's appearing with 8 hands.
Maybe because he's manifesting himself as Yajna Purusha here. And the material nature actually showing that the material nature is also its expansion, because material nature in the form of dog carries 8 arms. And the Lord is trying to show here, that is my speculation.
And there are eight directions.
There are 8 directions. So the Lord is showing us here how is actually the source of material nature. Because when the Mother Durga or nature is being worshipped, she manifests her form in 8-handed forms. So, but the Lord himself is appearing here. And because he's appearing as the Yagya Purusha, so I'm thinking that maybe, I'm not too sure, unless I'm just speculating my understanding. So maybe the Lord is showing us here that even material nature of Mother Durga is nothing but its expansion. And the Lord is showing that by manifesting that features here. And of course, one thing is very clear. And what is that clarity is that ultimately, the Supreme Personality of God is the source of everything. Everything is emanating from him. And to the degree or for the purpose for whichever it is required, the Lord decides to manifest. And this answers some of the questions that we encounter as preachers. When innocent, materialistic religious people, they say, but how can God be in this particular form? The God we know is like this, it's like that. Just like responding to one philosopher and saying, yes, Jesus is God. Yes, Jesus is God. We know Jesus is God. Yeah, he is God. But what kind of God he is? They don't know. But we know that, yes, Jesus is God. Just like how I used to sometimes try to embarrass some of these Christian philosophers. So when they say, but I'm also God, you are also God. Even the Bible acknowledges that. But they are the greatest, they are levels of godliness. And Jesus Christ himself said, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. So who was he preaching to? So they cannot understand. So manifestation of 8 forms, 800 forms here, like Lord Vishnu answers so many bewildering questions about a supremely transcendental and universal personality that he decides to manifest himself according to the needs, which also corroborates with a verse in the Bhagavad Gita. Ye yatamam prapadyante tam stataiva bhajami aham. All of them, as they surrender, I reward them accordingly. So here in the arena of Daksha's Yagya, the Lord is manifesting here as Yagya Purusha, but he chooses not to come in the 400 form, but in 800 form. Maybe in the further purpose, Prabhupada will explain to us why he's chooses to use the 8 form. But these are my understanding.
Yeah, it's okay. The Lord is free to appear with many hands you like. If you are choosing to appear with 8 hands this time, that means he has something to show to the people there. I'm not just Vishnu. I'm Vishnu, but I'm the Lord of all sacrifices. Such. In all the directions, I'm there to bestow my benedictions to all living entities. Anyway, this is not mental speculation. This is a philosophical speculation. So it's allowed. So that is it. The Lord remain inconceivable, and only by His free will He can reveal Himself to us according to our attitudes. So let us improve our service attitude in all circumstances and expect the Lord's reciprocation, proportionate reciprocation for that matter. Okay, let's read one more verse and make it the last verse for today.
Okay. So now the partners are talking. The wives of the devas are now going to give their own realization. Where is it now? Open up. Okay. Patnaya Uchu. Patniya Uchu. Yagnoyam Tavayatnaya Kena Shristo. Vitvasta Pasupatinad Yadaksha Kupat. Tamnas Tvam Seva Ayanat Asanta Mediam. Yagnatmam Nalina Ruchadrisha Punehi. The wives of the performers of the sacrifice said, "My dear Lord, this sacrifice was arranged under the instructions of Brahma, but unfortunately, Lord Shiva, being angry at Daksha, devastated the entire scene. And because of his anger, the animals meant for sacrifice are lying dead. Therefore, the preparations of the yagya have been lost. Now, by the glance of your lotus eyes, the sanctity of this sacrificial arena may be again invoked." Papa said in the purport, "Animals were offered in sacrifice in order to give them renewed life. That was the purpose of having animals there. Offering an animal in sacrifice and giving him renewed life was the evidence of the strength of chanting mantras. Unfortunately, when Daksha's sacrifice was devastated by Lord Shiva, some of the animals were killed. One was killed just to replace the head of Daksha. The bodies were lying about, and the sacrificial arena was turned into a crematorium. Thus, the real purpose of Yagya was lost. Lord Vishnu, being the ultimate objective of such sacrificial ceremonies, was requested by the wives of the priest to glance over the Yagya arena with his costless mercy so that the routine work of the Yagna might be continued. The purport here is that animals should not be unnecessarily killed. They were used to prove the strength of the mantras and were to have been rejuvenated on the use of the mantra. They should not have been killed as they were by Lord Shiva to replace the head of Daksha with an animal's head. It was pleasing to see an animal sacrificed and rejuvenated, and that pleasing atmosphere had been lost. The wives of the priests requested that the animals be brought back to life by the glance of Lord Vishnu to make a pleasing yagya.
Yeah. So first of all, the wives of the priest there, they attempt to try to still point finger at Lord Shiva. They try to accuse us. After all, they are the wives of them, and they were all disgraced in different ways. So Now that a superior person to come, a superior person has come, they have a chance to register their satisfaction a little bit. Lord Shiva has caused this. Yeah. Though we want this, ultimately they wanted the Jagya to continue. That is the more important thing. They wanted the Jagya to continue. Lord Shiva did not cause the problem just like that. He did it as a reaction to the whimsical activities of your husbands. So if you want to accuse Lord Shiva, start by accusing your husbands. So anyway, as women, that their feeling was not out of place. It's just instant reaction. He has killed, he has destroyed the sacrifice. And Lord Shiva, who had done this, and disgrace our husband again. Please let this sacrifice be continued, sure. But we want it to continue. They want the sacrifice to continue. And the Lord understood. Lord Shiva has already taken a humble position, so he will not respond to small people like this. See, was not ready to respond to them. Okay, thank you very much. We stop here. Chitraketu Putra. Okay, so actually, you are not there yet, no problem. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow at the same time. Come find the Charles Lai, Bhakti Vaibhav.